So, hi fellas, Xavier for XM Studio, and today I'd like to make a sort of behind the scene and so tutorial on how we pulled out this effect, which is
Shit, I've missed.
roughly this. And so, from our last short with Dimitri Sidor in Los Angeles. And the idea is really how to make this looks photorealistic. So now I'm walking you frame by frame. Yeah, it doesn't work. And if you have a look at it frame by frame, you can see exactly what we did. Alright, so first of all, well, let's dive into After Effects. As usual, I'll tell you this. Just hang on a second. This is my timeline, and as usual, I'd say like go replace it by a comp in After Effects, so it will pop up in After Effects. And then generally I go back in Premiere Pro, do Control Z or Apple Z to cancel that, so I end up having my original file here, and I have my I just render my stuff on After Effects and I import it. This way I can always switch back to the previous one, and I don't have any linked project that would be a bit laggy or whatever. I prefer to work this way. I might be stupid. It's up to you to see what you prefer. Anyway, back in After Effects, let me switch screens here. You've got this very nice frame, and as you can see we have already this pool here, which might be a little not very arranging for what we want to do. I mean, we're gonna have a lightning strike hit here, and we have this big stuff in front of it, so it won't really bother us. We'd have to cut it anyway if we want to make it look realistic, and it doesn't really look good. I mean, if we have to have a vertical elements in a frame, we already have this one that is kind of bothering for the eyes. So what I did is I opened it in Photoshop, and maybe I can just give you a look at what I did. Mainly I started by taking my original frame. I used the magic wand, selected my pool. I went into remplir, which must be fill in English, and I did with contenu pris en compte, which I don't know in English might be like something like relevant content or something like that, which try to replace by actual content. It does a pretty good job at recreating these clouds, and even if I enlarge my composition, I still have those borders. So what I simply did is I took my tampon, which is my duplicating tool, I guess in English. I went selecting a bit of cloud, and I start removing these remains. Anyway, let me cancel that. If we have a look at the full screen, you can see that step by step I removed the pool entirely, and then I just removed those humans here that we don't want to see. Once I was done with that, I simply, no thank you, imported it in After Effects. So what you have here, if you have a look at my comp, you have my video, I just have my Photoshop file, and I have a mask on top of it, because if you look at the other screen, bam, here you see that it's only this part I replaced. Why only this? Because it's only the part we need to remove. This way I keep the movement in a tree, aka this wind movement, you see? Makes it more realistic. We have the tree shaking. That's good. Now let's dive in the lighting effect itself. If I just do Control Y and say yes to creating a new null object, I could simply go on After Effects. I could simply go on create a new let me search it for light here, éclair. That is advanced lighting, I guess in English. And you have this kind of stuff, which is just ugly. I mean, if you want to do a Star Wars video thing, that could work for you, but it's really not good looking. You should change it to coup, so this way you can actually point to one place. I made it come from a little further. Also, it's not really necessary. And first of all, when you do that, you simply want to open your web browser and type sorry, without any, just want to look for that and just try to see what looks realistic. That's a photo, an actual photo. That might be two, that might be two. Try to find something realistic, not something completely crazy. And let's try differently. Lightning. Try different research, see what Google's offers. Okay, that's during daytime, that's better. We want to have it during daytime. Maybe here. Okay, if you look at the form of it, it's mainly drawing one main path and some fork around it. But it goes, a lot of it quite often goes crazy around. And this one is really just straight down. This one a bit the same, but it goes a little crazy around. This one as well, you have one main one and some crazy stuff around. This one is a bit actually more orange, but mainly it's almost never blue. Look at it, you might have a little glow around it or something, but sometimes it's a little blue. But if you know how lighting works, it's just like a amount of electricity, and it just excites all the molecules in the air, and basically it emits in all possible wavelengths. There will be no blue, there will be every colors in it. So you might have a slight tint depending on your camera, your condition or whatever, but you would never have this blue. So I just had a little bit of blue, just a little touch. And you may have a little something diffused, but slightly. This diffusion effect is more about your camera saturating or something more than the actual lighting of the air. The air is only excited where the path goes. But if you don't have this glow, it looks kind of flat, so you need it. But something very thin, something not much. I don't know how much I ended up having, but really not much. Anyway, that's the first thing. Now we have some forks around it. That's actually not looking too bad. You can tweak the settings. Yeah, that's the point. You need to draw a bit the core or whatever the setting is in English for it to work. Otherwise you can just attenuate your main lighting strike, and this way it works. Alright, that was the way I used. In this way also you'll notice that if you attenuate it, but the end is thinner than the beginning, it kind of looks better. You can kind of give the perspective of it. So you have to use a setting, whatever the name in English is. Literally that would be drawing to the core or something like that, which will be diminishing the end of it. You diminish a bit the force of the fork, and I guess I pumped up a little bit. This one doesn't change much, and then using attenuation it can adjust your main lighting strike. And that's the settings of the main strike. If you have a look at it, that must be which frame? This frame here. That's my main lighting strike actually. And if we go in a fit screen, I have a bit of starting here. It just pop up in this state, expand a little bit and strike. So 2 frames and then bam. And that's the setting I'm using. You can see them frame by frame. Just pause the video, copy that, tweak them to your use. And then I added a second one, which is this one with the other settings I showed, to have this kind of crazy stuff going around. Because again, if you have a look at your web browser, you see there's always crazy stuff going around, and when you use the settings, when you have coup here, you cannot have those wild stuff. So I used partout or whatever, everywhere I guess in English, and yeah, so I have this kind of crazy stuff around. Then I did one light. It's very short lighting strike. If it's only like 2 or 3 frames if you ever filmed a storm. So it hits the ground for 2 frames and then it moves elsewhere, stops, strike again, stop. This way it makes more sense since, well, it's hitting the human, but it's like I'm moving around, you know, it's wild electricity, so it's going around, very short. It's a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, let's say not even 10 frames. It's very short. It gotta be very, very short. But then you have a lot of stuff going around when you have lightning strike hitting the floor this way. I mean, so far it's looking good, but we don't buy it. It's going too fast and there's not a lot of elements around it. Even if you had the sound, which is very important, it would be still not really good. You might think, yeah, the grass is gonna get burned, so you just add these marks, which are from Video Copilot, from the Action Essential pack. I had different ones mainly, but you know, you could have anything. You could simply use your brush tool on Photoshop, try to do something this way if you don't have it yet. And then simply I used the 3D. I just made them 3D layers here, so I can actually rotate them and add the perspective this way. You could use it the power pin tool, power pin effect. Sorry, you could simply go there, choose distort and power pin, and then this way you can just tweak the perspectives this way, or you can simply make them 3D, rotate them around the z-axis, and you have the same effect. What I did is simply they appear, and I have a little mask expanding, slightly expanding. It's nothing much, but it's with the feather and the expansion, it just gives the feeling the mark is growing as the grass is getting burned. I have several of them around the path of the lightning strike. Nothing much, but it helps. Also, I guess it's so powerful that some you have to imagine how powerful it is. You guess some dirt could be like expelled from the ground or something. So I just simply added those few stuff, also from Video Copilot's Action Essential, which is just kind of bit of dirt popping up, because it's very powerful, and that helps a lot. Now if you have a look at the whole thing, just those elements added. Okay, looks better, looks a lot better, but it's not completely photorealistic yet. So another thing which is important, if you have dusts, dirt going up, you have dust always. Even if it's in a forest or something a bit more wet or whatever, you will have always kind of a dust or powder in the air or something. There is heavy elements here brought in the air, but you have a lot more light elements. And that this dust you can see here, bam, going up, also from Video Copilot Element Essential. You can simulate in 3ds Max with FX if you prefer, or try to use whatever. And then again, it's very small. I made it small, like a small elements, and you have 3 of them. So you have this one, and this one. Each one for each lightning strike. So for the first one you have 1 element, then the second one you have 1 element, and then the third one with a little mask for it not to have like rough edges on the videos. And just let it go, let it expand. It's just a perfect speed. Sometimes with the action essential elements, you gotta tweak the speed a little, depending on what you wanna do. So that's good. Let's have a look at it. With the dust, it must be a photorealistic lightning strike. Now we buy it. Now it looks good. The dust adds everything. Volumetric stuff, guys. If you wanna make it photorealistic, you need volume. You need to have elements interact. If you add lighting, you need to interact with your ground, with your people. Yeah, about the people. It's supposed to hit the human, and yet we don't really have this feeling. It's like I painted on top of them, but we don't buy it. So let's go crazy this time. Let's dive in the freakishly weird, but working. Let's add this kind of lights on top of him. Not only he would be lit up by the strike, so he must be brighter, but you could go in the weird science fiction stuff for only about 1 or 2 frames. He could be glowing, I guess. This way he's glowing the way, because I don't know, that's not much. but just look how better it looks. If you look at this frame, now you think he's being hit. He's not being hit. He's being hit. He's not being hit. He's being hit. That's just some subconscious stuff, I guess, from our pop culture stuff. But if someone is hidden by a lightning strike, he might be glowing or something. It helps buying it. And you could have also some sparks going off of him or something. I don't know. Weird interaction. And that's how I built this frame. Then back in Premiere, obviously, what I was missing is, you know, the camera also has to interact. If you make it look good, your camera has to be somehow. It's just a white layer I added. Hold on, let me switch to the other screen. It's just a black video, on top of which I added put peinture, which is fill in English, I guess. Again, let me show you that. I'll just bring this window here, move this one around. Yeah, I simply went into effects, video effect, and into generate. Yeah, put peinture, which look like this. You have you can fill with one color actually, and I simply choose white. Stupid, right? And then since Premiere Pro authorized it now, I simply added a mask, which is looking like that. Hold on, fellows. Here, you've got this mask here, and yeah, this way I can simply have. I feathered it a lot, and it's just like if my camera was, you know, blown out with you know. Shit, I missed my word in English. Yeah, it's like a lens flare or something, but your camera is yeah, it's too much light coming in, and you gotta have this glow around. It's only for a couple of frames though. It's only when the lighting is here, so yeah. But it helps a lot. And simply a color correction on top of it. Nothing much, just to pop up the colors. It's really up to you. A color correction is really up to you. That's flats, that's with the colors, but then go ahead, do your stuff. Yeah, final stuff is I just added on top of this layer, which is the next shot. I forgot about that. I thought, yeah, I could add a lot of smoke. There is still smoke in the air, and so yeah, that will be my conclusion for today. I hope I wasn't too long. Let's see, 20 minutes, perfect. If you have to make a lightning strike, something like that, not only is cool, but then you have to really think in the photorealistic way, aka go check on the internet what it's like for real, or inspire yourself from actual photos or actual elements you're using. Then try to decompose it, aka you have your lightning strike, make it white because this is what lighting is about. It's only light. It's not blue, it's not green, it's not red, except if it's science fiction. And then make your elements interact. If you have a hard time thinking of which tiny elements, which actually make it believable, but those tiny elements, if you have a hard time finding what to add on your frame, just think, I added lighting, which is fake, but in reality, what would it interact with? The ground, aka dirt, dust, burn marks. If it's on someone, there would be burn marks as well. Have you ever seen burn marks on a human being? If you have to make effects, it's disgusting. Lightning burns. But if you have to see, these are the freakishly weird patterns where the yes, that's gross. But that's an actual lightning strike. You can see the paths of the currents on the skin. That's a burn mark. Have a good time doing it with makeup. But yeah, think how it interacts with the elements, and try to make it believable this way. Even if you have to use some common pop culture thing or subconscious stuff as this glow on the person. Look how it looks good on I guess if it was a close-up that wouldn't work, but since it's tiny, you could just add a spark for 2 frames. No one will notice it. And then you've got the final result.
Shit, I've missed.
Alright, thanks guys for watching. Hope to see you soon around. Stay tuned, subscribe, like the usual. See you soon. Bye.